land of tea,
teeth,
and colonizing. Welcome to the entire history of England told by two 20-year-old Canadian girls by memory. So basically, for funsies, we decided to recreate a timeline of English history starting from 1000 AD to modern day. But we couldn't Google anything. We could only use anything that we know or think that we know. And we had one phone a friend. We phoned Virginia's mom, and that was extremely informative. Insert clip editing, Lauren, maybe, if you want to, if you feel like it adds to the story.
the 7th! I thought it was the 3rd! Oh my god! Okay, we're missing a hell of a lot of Edwards! Okay, Edward the 4th was a Plantagenet. Okay, I'm writing that down.
So, let us begin.
Okay.
Welcome to Prehistory. Before 1000 AD, we got just a couple of things, starting off with Stonehenge, which was really before, way before.
We don't know when. Probably made by aliens.
No! Also King Harold, sometime. He was closer to when we're gonna start, but he's there. And then also we got Hadrian's Wall, which proves that the Roman Empire went up to that point. And then we got Vikings, they did stuff, and Pictons, they also did stuff. 1000 AD!
Buckingham Palace was made around here? Or the preamble to Buckingham Palace?
Listen, I know that we filmed this yesterday and then looked up stuff.
Yeah.
Cite your sources. Why did you put this here, Virginia?
I put this here because I read a book. And I thought that books didn't lie. I'm very gullible. But maybe my memory lied. It's old.
It's old.
It's really old. It's a pretty nice place. But it's old, so it's probably around this time.
Yeah.
And then there's William. He was the conqueror. He conquered stuff. He made England French for a little while. England was French. And then he had a son who he hated, I think. And he was Henry the First. And Oxford University, also really old, so probably made around now. Eleanor of Aquitaine, she was around now. She did stuff. She was important. I don't know why.
She was Aquitaine.
And Henry II, he was also very important, probably. Mostly because he had a lot of children who did some stuff. And we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
All right.
1100 AD. So first thing, we got St. Margaret's Chapel, which is in Edinburgh Castle. It's the oldest building there, which we know because we've been there. First, for kings, we got Richard I, the Lionheart. Yeah. We got Henry III. The London Tower, also really old. Probably, it was vibing probably at this point. Nothing was really happening.
It wasn't popping off that century.
No, it'll pop off later.
Yeah.
Like right now. 1200 AD.
It was a crazy time. We've got King John. He was excommunicated. He was a nasty piece of work. You know him. He was a lion in a Disney movie because he is the Robin Hood king. So yeah, he sucked. Robin Hood was robbing from him. So yeah. But he did sign the Magna Carta. He didn't want to. Let's be clear, he was forced to. But it was like a charter. I think it was like the first charter of human rights in England or something. But I think he disregarded it right after he signed it. And a little bit of Welsh history. And I'm so sorry to all the Welsh for me butchering this.
No, you're gonna do great.
Llywelyn Fawr, that means the Great. He was the Prince of Wales, and he tried his best to keep Wales from being part of England. And then his son David ap Llywelyn, and then his grandson Llywelyn ap Griffith, and I'm pretty sure he's like the last Welsh Prince of Wales ever. So Henry IV, he was so bad that they stopped using the name for a little while. Edward the First. He's not portrayed well in the movies. The movies of Robert the Bruce and William Wallace. Scotland forever! Robert the Bruce, also known as Chris Pine.
Yeah.
The
real Braveheart.
Yeah.
Robert the Bruce is the real Braveheart.
And then...
Okay, so starting off, just before we kind of have the 100 Years' War, which was actually 116 years long. Oh, also, shout out to Joan of Arc. She's not British, she's French, but she was a real one, and we wanted to shout her out. Okay, up here for kings, we got Edward II, Richard II, Richard III, who sucked, and you know, he sucked. We got Crusades to take back the Holy Land. Down here, we got St. Andrew's College, which I think was established in 1304? Question mark.
Because you saw the date.
Because I was there, and it was old. And then just to finish off some kings in the 1300s, we got Edward III, and then Edward IV.
But honestly, who cares?
Too many Edwards at this point.
Too many Edwards.
1400 AD!
On November 5th, we remember it. It's sometime in the 1400s, we think. We're Canadian, so we got a shout out when, you know, all the colonizing happened. And we think good old Sammy D was around here.
He's also not British.
Not British, but eventually Canada became a Canadian...
A British colony.
A British colony. He was just discovering, killing, mapping, colonizing. Also, around this time, there were a lot of plagues. The Black Death, really doing the most. 5, 6, 7, 8 Henrys.
So just before we do our 1500s little guy, because he's kind of over here, we got Henry VIII. You know him.
Unfortunately, an icon.
From the hit musical The Six. Because he had 6 wives.
Yeah.
And you want to try and name them?
Alright, the first one, Catherine of Aragon. The second one, Anne Boleyn. One of them was Anne of Par. I feel like it was the 5th one. And the last one was Anne of Cleves, Catherine Parr. So the 5th one I think was Anne of Cleves, and the 6th one, the one who lived, and the one he only truly loved, at least that's what she says in the musical, was Catherine Parr.
Sure. Also, creation of Church of England, because he wanted to get divorced, and that's all that Protestantism is about.
Really? That's Protestantism.
That's Protestantism.
And that's
Protestantism. Also up here at the very top we have Lady Jane Grey, in the famous painting of her execution.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah. Another real one. 1500 AD. So, Queen. Pause for a moment of queenness. Okay, so we got Queen Elizabeth I. You know her. So she did kill Mary Queen of Scots, which it was rude, frankly. She killed Saoirse Ronan, which is rude, frankly.
We love you, Saoirse.
We do.
Justice for Saoirse.
Also down here, at some point, William Shakespeare, he was writing, he was not fathering.
He was not parenting.
He was not parenting, but he was writing, and he wrote a lot. And I'm trying to read it all right now. For fun! And then we have, after Queen Elizabeth, James I, son of Mary Queen of Scots. Yeah, I don't think it lasted long, though. Okay!
Yeah.
Let's move on. The 1600s?
Really? Charles Charles I is only here because we know that he's Charles II. So there has to be a Charles I, and that's him. And he kind of gave Stuart vibes. When I said Charles I was like, that sounds like a Stuart. Also, we were just throwing in Edwards wherever there were some holes, just add an Edward. So that's Edward V, he's there. Probably very important, but I don't know who he is. So how important could he really be? The witch trials, I know that they were going on for a long time, but there was a little period, one of the kings, believed in witches. I swear to God this is true. He believed in witches, and he, he believed in witchcraft. Yeah. And that was when there was a lot of witch trials going on. And I think it was Edward V. Sorry, Edward, to accuse you of witchcraft. I'm just accusing random people of witchcraft. What a novel idea. So, and then also, I think that my favorite painter, John Everett Millais, was around this time. Lauren doesn't.
No, I don't believe him.
But that's fine.
1700 AD. So, we got the Georges. George I, George II, George III, but we'll get to him. So, we got a lot of wars coming. Starting 7-Year War. It was 7 years.
In the
1700s. And then also down here for wars, we have the Battle of Culloden.
Which we actually know that happened today.
Yeah, this happened in 1745.
We walked Culloden.
We've been there. We're traveled. Also, Prince Charles.
He was doing stuff.
He's there. This is our source, Outlander.
You're welcome, Scottish people. We know your culture.
I've never seen Outlander.
I read all the books.
Isaac Newton also. He's letting apples fall on him. That actually never happened. But he's inventing physics and maybe killing someone, but we don't have enough time to get into that.
Inventing physics.
He's inventing physics.
Physics is real. It's not like he invented gravity.
Listen, I go to an art school. He's inventing physics. Most important people in this time. Let's start with Dwennes, or Dr. Dwight Ennis from the show Poldark. So we know now a lot about Cornwall in this time, in the late 1700s.
It was rough. It was rough to be Cornish.
It was. They were mining, wasn't going great, and then France, Revolution, they were kind of on the front lines there. And then Jane Austen.
Yeah.
My favorite, icon, legend, writer, you know her, you love her. She's the best. And then down here we have the American Revolutionary War. All of our facts from this are from Hamilton. And the French Revolution happened right after that. Everybody was revolting and revolutionizing. No, I don't want to talk about the Pirates of the Caribbean.
You mentioned it. It was
the Pirates of the Caribbean movies take place around this time, and Keira Knightley's in them, and she's British.
Yeah.
And so, if you know Hamilton, you know this guy.
Should we?
I don't want to get copyright. King George III. Baby. This is the real King George III. This is a historical photo of King George III.
It's amazing what good camera quality they had in the late 1700s.
Yeah. So, you know him from Hamilton or Queen Charlotte, whatever. He was there. He was crazy. He liked playing with revolutions, taxing the hell out of America. Yeah. Just maybe not being a great guy.
Yeah.
But they can't all be winners.
They can't.
None of them are winners.
1800 AD! Who has heard about the War of 1812? Because that one we know definitely happened in the 1800s. Us Canadians, we burned down the White House.
Yeah!
We burned down the White House.
Yeah!
That's fine.
We're gonna be banned from so many countries.
That's fine. And it was great, and I'm proud of us. George IV, again, Edward VI. Then we got Queen Victoria herself. she had a lot of kids. She loved her husband, which honestly, good for her. Also, that's when like consumption was raging. So,
As per.
I thought we would just not address it.
Okay.
Also raging was Jack the Ripper, and we know it happened around this time because there was this conspiracy theory that Prince Albert was Jack the Ripper, and honestly, I love that conspiracy theory. I think that's great.
Also Murdoch Mysteries.
Also Murdoch Mysteries. Confederation. This is important because Canada is now a country.
Our homeland, native land, true patriot love, in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Protection.
So good for us, I guess.
And that happened
1867. The Boer War. What I know about this is that it was fought in Africa between the Dutch and the English. Anyway, let's move on. The Opium Wars. This is when, at least according to the history of the entire world, I guess, England got China addicted to opium, and then China banned it, and England got pissy about it.
Sounds about right.
Wait, can I try something?
1900 AD! Cool. First, for some kings, we got Edward the Seventh and George the Fifth up here. We know George the Fifth is around this time because he's in Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Cite your sources. Also in Downton Abbey, the sinking of the Titanic, which happened on April 14th, 1912.
Yeah.
Know that for a fact, so that's here.
Do we want to mention the Britannic?
Fun fact, the Britannic. Look it up. Maybe more interesting than the Titanic. Whoa. Right after that, World War I. The Great War, so great, there won't need to be a second. Happened from 1914 to 1918.
And it started with, say it together now,
The assassination of Franz Ferdinand. Although tensions were rising in Europe already. Up here, very important of note, is the Banshees of Inisherin takes place in 1923.
On Inisherin.
On Inisherin, if you can tell. That's just really important, I think, to be included. Okay, Edward the Eighth, who abdicated from the throne, which means that he said nah. And that's because he wanted to marry an American divorcee,
William Wallace.
No. What's her name?
Wallace Simpson.
Thank you. And so he said nah, which means that
Colin Firth.
Bertie here, George the Sixth became king, and he made speeches.
So yeah, he died from lung cancer, I think. He smoked a lot.
A lot of people smoked a lot back then.
Yeah.
Speaking of smoking a lot, the Beatles! He made speeches. During World War II, which happened from 1939 to 1945. At that time, Winston Churchill was Prime Minister. This is definitely a real photo of Winston Churchill and not from Murdoch Mysteries. Also important to note at that time, Alan Turing, he was basically inventing the computer. Okay, and then the Cold War, that happened.
Yeah.
After.
Spying.
Who put Bella in the witch elm is a, unsolved case from around this time, which we know from watching BuzzFeed Unsolved. Because of all of this, you get the Beatles. And it makes a lot of sense when you see everything else. Up here, we got Queen Elizabeth II. You know her, you maybe don't love her, maybe you do. She's the longest reigning monarch.
Icon.
Icon. This is actually a great photo to BH.
Yeah.
Also, crazy to think that she was the queen and just listening to the Beatles.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Also down here, we got Margaret Thatcher, because she was prime minister at some point in this time-ish, and nobody liked her. And then at the very end of the 1900s, we got Dairy Girls happening over here. You know, a lot of stuff was happening in Northern Ireland, I think, throughout the 1900s and just in history in general. But if you've watched Dairy Girls, you know what happened.
You know. Yeah.
We don't touch Joanna's as much this time.
I know.
We went to the year 2000 AD.
So we didn't really talk about Diana in the 90s, which we should have. The People's Princess. And the only good thing to come out of Charles. And I mean that in every way. So unfortunately he is king, but we're not going to talk about that. Also, Brexit happened. We think it was in 2017, or they voted on it in 2017 and it happened in 2019. We're a bit fuzzy on that date, but really 2 years, that's pretty good for given the rest of this. And for some stupid reason, they left the EU.
And that's England. And how do we end?
Yeah, how do we end? That's the question.
England.
And that's
England.
I mean,
That's.
I feel like we can do that. That is something we could do.
I feel like let's leave in this bit of us trying to figure out how to end it, and then I just cut it at the most random. Dwenis. I think it should just end on us going, Dwenis. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say for the end. So yesterday we filmed this, and then we looked up if our information was correct. And to be truthful, not a lot.
Not a lot.
But this,
Pretty damn good.
other than this one Edward, was pretty good.
We did miss 10 kings.
Yeah.
And really it's more than that, because a few of these Edwards really should have been before our time. So we missed the Cromwells, but honestly,
Who cares?
who cares?
Well,
We
they were
missed
prime
some
minister.
Williams. It's Charles III. That one we should have got.
Guys, fun fact, it's Charles III.
Oh, we're not gonna have the clip of me saying.
I can insert it. I
Okay.
can insert it.
Insert clip. That he's Charles II. So there has to be a Charles I. And I think he's a Stuart.
Maybe Charles II just wanted to be the
Yeah,
second.
he just wanted to be the
It
second.
sounds cooler.
It's just you know what he should have done? If he wanted to be the third, he should have just made someone the king and then killed him right away.
It's I'm Charles III now.
Yeah.
Insert clip of us joking about him being called Charles III, and then later finding out he is Charles III.
Okay, sure. If you liked this, you should watch this and this
Wow,
and this. I'm plugging you.
you're a true YouTuber.
Yeah.
A true one, a real one.